OTB AM brought to you by Gillette. Good morning. Start with Gillette. Put your best face forward with their new and improved razors. Owen, this is your baby off the back of a piece that we did with Daniel Harris yesterday. There was a big fight in the ad break there. I had to separate Kenny and Owen from when football started. Owen made a wise crack. Kenny did not appreciate it.
No. By the way, just a note, and everybody watching at home will notice this, but when Ger says this is your baby, he probably thinks that this piece is going to be awful and has already apportioned blame to somebody else.
Quietly judging you.
So we're going with... So basically, a conversation came up in our piece with Daniel Harris yesterday, comparing, Harry Maguire to defenders during the Ferguson era, such as Wes Brown, for example, Steve Bruce, for example, Gary Pallister,
William
for example.
Prunier.
So we decided to do a World Cup of Manchester United defenders in the Alex Ferguson era, basically 90s onwards. I mean, it's post-Paul McGrath, basically, because we all know that Paul McGrath would waltz home with this. So post-Paul McGrath, Manchester United defenders, we've picked an arbitrary enough top 16, last 16 let's call it, not necessarily the top 16, and we're going to put them head-to-head until we get Kenny Cunningham's World Cup champion of Manchester United defenders. So our first clash in the last 16 this morning, Kenny, and you can be brief enough with these last 16 games because a couple of them are fairly straightforward. Nemanja Vidic versus Chris Smalling. Who is the better defender? Smalling's still playing.
Now, by the way, we only have like 8 minutes for this, so we don't need...
Okay, so we do need rapid fire then. Yeah. Vidic, okay, Vidic is true. Eric Bailly versus David May. May. Stam versus Mikhail Silvestre.
Really? David May ahead of Eric Bailly?
Okay.
Easy.
Easy.
Stam is in. Wes Brown versus Gary Pallister.
You're putting these names up. You're not reacting to what I'm saying. I thought you were going to put the names.
It's
only about 15 letters. I thought you're prolific on the computer. You can't put the names bloody up. Go on, keep going.
Wes Brown versus Gary Pallister.
Pallister.
No.
Oh.
Easy.
No.
Easy?
This is the easiest quiz show I've ever played.
This is a good one. Steve Bruce versus Johnny Evans.
Oh. Forced difficult call. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. Are you talking Johnny Evans in terms of the length of his duration of his career, or just that time when he was at Manchester United?
Do you know, to make it more interesting, we can go duration of career.
Who had the better?
No, I actually think you're complicating it.
I know, I'm making it harder on you. Yeah.
Roll back. No, what I would say is I think it was a big mistake Manchester United made letting Johnny Evans go. I thought his partnership with Vidic towards the tail end of Vidic's career there was absolutely outstanding. He was developing into a top class centre half and should have stayed at Manchester. So I'm going to say that, but for the amount of time that he spent there in comparison to Steve Bruce, I'd have to say Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce, okay. So Steve Bruce wins.
I think Johnny Evans is critically underrated. Has had an excellent career.
I don't think he's underrated now. I think people came to appreciate at Leicester how good that he actually was, but I don't think people knew it. Who was it came? Was it Van Gaal who came in and showed him out the door? He had one injury, I think it was, and he was out quickly. I think it was Van Gaal. I can't remember. I don't think it was David Moyes.
Was it West Brom for $1.5 million?
But it was a massive mistake. He came to Sunderland when I was there. He was 18. It was me last year in football. Well, I wasn't playing football, to be honest with you, me last year. I don't know what I was playing, but well, it wasn't a game I loved. I was struggling basically, what I'm saying. He came in on loan. Roy brought him in, and within, I'd say, a week on the training pitch, I thought, wow, this kid it's going to be a world beater. I thought he was going to be Manchester United
captain,
legend. Yeah, the whole shebang. I think it could have happened for him. Probably think it should have happened for him, through no fault of his own. Anyway, I'll go with Steve Bruce for the reasons that I'm saying, just restricted to their time at the club.
Harry Maguire versus Laurent Blanc.
Blanc.
Straight away. It's Laurent Blanc at Man United. It's not Laurent Blanc
Oh, I'm thinking. No, do you know what? Do you know what I'm going to factor in here? What are you talking about, Laurent Blanc?
I'm just saying. I'm saying Laurent Blanc at Man United was like a husk of a human being. By that stage, he was completely washed up and finished.
No, it's true.
I would have been.
True. I'm falling for Owens. Yeah, you're right. I'm getting nostalgic. I'm looking at Laurent Blanc at his best. No, I think you're right. And this is Harry Maguire's best, is it? Are we saying Harry Maguire's best at the moment?
Well, so here's the thing. This is supposed to give us the opportunity to go Harry Maguire versus some of these people. But obviously, and you fix it so he'd win the first one easily. And already we've blown it up.
Now, you're right. He was past his best, Laurent Blanc. But I remember a couple of the lads at United actually talking. I think Roy was one of them, to be fair, not betraying the confidence, saying they love playing with him, Blanc, even at that stage of his career.
Betray all the confidence you want at this stage. It's over.
And the big thing was... he just would always want the ball.
Right.
Always take responsibility, get on the ball and play. Kind of real kind of personality, etc. But you're right. He wasn't at his best by the time he went to Manchester United. But I think that's a tough call, even in terms of Harry Maguire.
So we're going Maguire?
I got Blanc.
Okay, so
In that case, if it was Harry Maguire versus Johnny Evans, who are you going?
Oh, Johnny Evans.
Harry Maguire versus Steve Bruce?
Steve Bruce.
Okay.
Harry Maguire versus Wes Brown.
Wes Brown, better defender.
That's
But
pretty much the answer.
he was very limited in terms of ball playing ability, and probably needed a big one alongside him because he wasn't as dominant as Harry Maguire in the air, and certainly not in both boxes. But in terms of it, like 1-to-1, we're talking about 1-to-1, defending your area of the pitch, being isolated and have to deal with Wes Brown all day. So it depends which of those attributes you kind of value more.
Yeah, I mean,
suppose.
they might have been a reasonable partnership.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Wes Brown might have covered for many of the faults that Harry Maguire has. Like, that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, but then you're bringing in partnerships, then you're, forget it, we don't know where we're heading off, and all sorts of directions.
This is already complicated enough as it is. Ronnie Johnson versus Henning Berg.
Johnson.
Oh,
Just
that's
probably a little bit more rounded.
And then finally in the round of 16. Sorry, Ger.
People are complaining. Wes Brown, what about his cross to Ronaldo in the Champions League final? Headed goal versus Chelsea. That there was enough there to suggest that he had the ball playing ability that Maguire has as well.
Oh no, he hadn't got the ability to step forward in possession and break the lines and draw people to him. He wasn't as. I think Maguire is quite exceptional in that respect. I mean, a couple of years ago, you looked at him and probably thought there's not too many better than him in that respect. That was what everybody was talking about.
It seems to have slowed down. It seems to be very.
Probably haven't
very
seen him
telegraphed.
Yeah, enough of it. Again, for me, like confidence. That's how confidence. When confidence gets drained out, Jared, affects every facet of your game. You almost go into your shell a little bit, but he has it in him. He showed it less. He showed it with England. He showed it the first year, I'd say, at Manchester United. That kind of those ball carrying qualities which he has. I was definitely better than Wes Brown in that respect. I'm a massive fan of Wes Brown, but for different reasons.
Victor Lindelof versus Rio Ferdinand is the last clash in our last 16.
It's Rio
Ferdinand. It's Rio Ferdinand, isn't it? Good thing I've already literally saved in the graphic before we even asked you for that one, so it's such a foregone conclusion. That's how you do. That's how you get ahead of it. So we will hopefully have an updated graphic on screen very shortly, indeed. As we move on to.
Here we go.
Oh, Tommy's got it done.
That's what I'm after.
Tommy's got a nicer graphic done than I do, actually. So fair play to him. Okay, quarterfinals. Nemanja Vidic.
We're still going. We're ploughing on.
We are, of course.
All right.
That's how World Cup works.
I thought we were going to park it for a week.
No.
Like the FA Cup rounds.
There's
Just
a last
park it
16
for 2
joke in
weeks.
there somewhere.
No, there's imminent
Like
action.
six nations. They have that.
The break weeks, the random break weeks. Yeah.
I'm going straight in. Right, go.
Nemanja Vidic versus David May.
Vidic.
Jaap Stam versus Gary Pallister.
Stam.
Steve Bruce versus Laurent Blanc.
Bruce.
Ronnie Johnson versus Rio Ferdinand.
Ferdinand.
Okay, so we got Ferdinand, Bruce, Stam, Vidic.
Is this because you played under Steve Bruce or something? Is there? Did you play under Steve Bruce? You did you?
Oh, he managed me at Birmingham.
Yeah.
Oh, I was always a big fan of him as a player.
Right. Okay. He's survived much longer in this bracket than I thought he would. He is deep in. It's like his managerial career. He's still getting gigs.
People underestimate how good he was. He's got that bit of a Wes Brown reputation. Basics, headed, kick it, that type of thing. But he was a far better footballer, I think, than some people appreciate. I remember going in at Birmingham, and he would have been that maybe 38 when he took on the job up there, and he was carrying a bit of timber even then. He was carrying timber like when he finished his career. But he joined in the five-a-sides on a Friday, which wasn't untypical then. Worst thing he could ever do. How managers got away with, I don't know. Mick was the worst.
Kicking players.
Mick McCarthy. Mick was Steve wouldn't get around kicking players. Mick was a different beast, but what surprised me was his quality on the ball. In the five-a-side, he wasn't running past people, dropping a shoulder and going.
No,
but in terms of receiving the ball, working the ball, being cut, actually took me aback.
Right.
How good he was.
He still could have played then at that stage.
No, he could. He could have played five-a-side.
Right.
Yeah, he could have played a professional five-a-side league, maybe for the over 35s. But just making the point, he was a far better rounded player and far better in possession maybe some people give him credit for. But he played alongside Pallister, and Pallister was perceived to be kind of royalty, wasn't it? In terms he glided over the ground, very comfortable on the ball, and he was like Stickers. He was the one getting the like 18 stitches across his forehead and stick his head in. He was fearless, wasn't he? Like,
well, Pallister got all the England captain. He never obviously got any.
Yeah, he didn't get any. He was very unfortunate. He was in good company, but I think he was very unfortunate in that respect. Probably deserving of more. But he was a very, very good all-round player and got everything out of him. What I'd say, I think he got everything out what he had. In terms of, I wouldn't say natural. Maybe Tanya had some real qualities. Don't get me wrong, but kind of got the best out of what he had.
What was the crack with Mick and the five-a-sides?
Mick just lamp you.
That was it.
We the lad who came down again, not betraying confidence. We the lad who came down. We took a lad on loan from the Midlands. Very good footballer, clever little operator lads. Ooh, a tasty. Ooh, this he'll help us. Boom, boom, boom. First week training, five-a-side mix involved. They're playing against each other, and this lad, I'm talking about self-confidence. This lad had bags of it, and he wasn't like he hadn't 200 games under his belt, just breaking onto the scene, but real quality. Still not going to mention his name. So starts playing up a bit with Mick, because Mick's legs had gone a little bit, as obviously most matches.
Well, what age was he at that age?
I think it was probably the same, 30, 38.
Where's this, Sunderland?
No, this is Millwall. So the ball's getting played up to him, and he's like dropping the couple of times. Dropped the shot, left Mick a couple of times, and then next time the ball's come up, he's kind of dropped it, put it between his legs, give it the away. took it the other side of Mick. And for us who had a bit of experience with Mick, and those of us who like played along Mick, thought, oh no, you could see it coming. It was like a car crash coming. You thought, oh, next ball. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. And the next ball came to his feet, and Mick just whoosh, cleaned them out from behind. You know, the classic goal.
Oh yeah,
tackle
straight
from
red.
Behind. Yeah, he was out. Session was over. Physio, the whole shebang, and
did he make it? Did he play again? Did he play for the team?
No, he didn't. I don't think he did. To be honest, he didn't like. It wasn't kind of A&E or anything like that. But he literally took him out. That was.
You got to know in fairness, you got to know the pecking order, and you know, respect your elders.
Know
and all
people.
That.
You just got to know people. Forget about the pecking order.
Know people, yeah, it's good. It's a life lesson there. We do our semi-finals,
and he was the Ireland manager 6 weeks later.
Yeah, semi-finals here. Nemanja Vidic versus Jaap Stam.
Stam.
Oh, that's a big call.
Two fantastic.
Yeah.
Stam. I played against Stam. There was a period when he played for United over a period of a year or two. Stam. We're talking about breaking players down, strengths, kind of weaknesses, but I couldn't find one in Stam. Vidic, to a small extent, maybe you could argue that kind of ball playing ability, like being speed. Vidic wasn't slow, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't a speedster either. You could argue at times somebody with real kind of pace who isolated him could get the better of him. Maybe at times if you're nitpicking. Stam for a period of time at Manchester, and I looked at him, and I must have played against him a couple of times and thought, I don't know where you go against. There's nothing there. He was a machine, physically tall. It's like a bodybuilder, wasn't he? But he could. We're talking about Maguire, weight, just can't carry the weight.
Yeah.
I mean, he was huge, like a cruiserweight boxer, but he could carry the weight and travel at speed as well. Dynamic in his movement, everything.
It never made sense. The notion of a falling out with the Neville brothers never made sense for the reason for the transfer. Something else must have happened. Something else.
Yeah,
because he was so good, and he was still so
wasn't
good.
It some of his book? Wasn't it an autobiography? And Ferguson took offence.
He wrote a book, and there was some stuff in about the.
That was it about, and he mentioned he referenced the Neville brothers. Didn't he? Phil and
busy seas was the phrase he used about them. Right. We can't say on a breakfast show, but you know what it is, and. I don't understand how that would be enough for Ferguson. Like, Ferguson probably thought the same about some of his players. It was like, yeah, they probably are a bit busy, but that's fine. I want them to be. It didn't seem like it was that.
I take your point. I'd be surprised if it was just that, though.
It's an overreaction.
He must have had covered there. He must have felt there was a sense of there's something coming down that I'll just preempt it. This is going to happen anyway. There's a natural evolution. He's going to go. Because you're right, because at the level he was at, you couldn't get near him. You couldn't touch him. He was an absolute animal. I don't mean animal in terms of totally out of control, kicking people.
No,
he was totally controlled, playing at.
He was a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was fearsome.
It's
play
far
against.
from an exact science, but Jaap Stam came in at 12th in the Ballon d'Or voting in '99. Vidic was at 16 in the 2009 Ballon d'Or voting. So maybe that justifies your selection.
Oh, there's very little between them.
Yeah.
Both of them outstanding.
So Stam gets into the final, and then the other semi-final is Steve Bruce against Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah, I got to give it to Ferdinand.
Right.
Yeah, I got to give it to Ferdinand just as his all-round game. You had his Rolls Royce Ferdinand. I'm tempted to kind of almost didn't want to involve himself in certain aspects of the game, like some of those centre halves there. Wes Brown, Steve Bruce, rolled the sleeves up in the trenches, lads. Kind of here we go. Ferdinand almost took a step back and kind of took a step around that. You know, if you understand what I'm saying, but he didn't need to, because his movement, athlete, and he was a very good reader of the game. You know, he stayed on his feet a lot of the time, and you're knocking past me, you can't run me. You know, that type of thing. Read the game well, and again, probably be ahead of his time in terms of his ability with the ball at his feet. Like probably could have played midfield for other clubs and stuff. But he was I'd have to say Ferdinand. You've
created a tricky final for yourself. So Jaap Stam against Rio Ferdinand.
Do you know what? Yeah, I wouldn't have automatically Stam, you know, at the onset. But yeah, I couldn't. I have to put him there in terms of what you've put in front of me. So that's tough.
Yeah,
I think this is where the argument comes in. You know, you pick Ferdinand, who you playing alongside him, because it's all about partnerships, isn't it? For me, particularly at centre half, probably as opposed to any other position. You know, centre midfield partnerships, okay, centre forward partnerships to an extent, but that's then half partnership in terms of how they complement each other. You know, how they work together. The dynamic is absolutely huge in terms of how good that they are. So I think this is an example where if you choose, it almost has to be who do you put in alongside him. But I think at their very best, if you're saying at their very best, Ferdinand longer at Manchester, I wouldn't give it to Ferdinand because he was there long. That's pretty weak. I was there longer at Manchester United. You know, higher level of consistency during the time was there. Stam wasn't there as long. But I think when they were both at their best at Manchester United, it'd be interesting if you spoke to forwards who played against them, centre forwards at their peak, and you asked some of the best centre forwards, who would have troubled you more? Who would you have struggled up against? Who would you have thought? Who would you have peeled on, basically, during the game? And you looked at both of them centre halves, Stam at his prime and Ferdinand. Who would you thought, I'll peel on him off his shoulder? I might have half a chance against this fella. That's a tough call. I might go with Stam.
Stam as the winner, or Stam as the person you're peeling off?
No, as the winner.
The winner, okay. Jaap Stam is your winner. There he is in all his shining glory on screen.
That's in the Champions League final in '99, obviously.
Well done. A good World Cup. Well completed. Jaap Stam, a worthy winner, I think.
That's not going to be popular, is it? Shock.
I don't know about that.
It's not one that would have jumped. If you put people on the spot and asked them that question, have to think on their feet, I'd imagine very low percentage. I'm actually a little bit surprised myself that I put up there.
Oh, there you go.
You would be on that one.
Ferdinand had 12 years at United.
Yeah, so I'm taking that longevity thing out, Ger.
Yeah.
I always think that's a little bit weak. You know what I mean?
Well, I would agree with you in some instances.
Can't be the overriding factor.
To be at the club for so long, where there's competition.
Yeah, but you've just made the counter argument for me. Why Stam didn't leave there because he was on the slide.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
He was dropping out. You know what I mean? So
it just doesn't make any sense.
So I don't think you can factor that into the argument. Some people
levels aren't so precious that they can't stand up for themselves. They could have just had it out.
There's two of them.
It doesn't make any sense. Exactly. They could have tag teamed them, had a row, and moved on.
I think you're right, considering how, say, someone like Cantona was dealt with there, and everybody's spoken about it there who played with Cantona, even Ferguson himself, lawn to himself. Lads all suited and booted, he'd roll in with his,
white,
open
ruffled, that was the famous one.
Exactly, all that type of thing. And people would suck that up. They suffered it because, well, it was Eric, we know the qualities that he has, he makes us better. Well, I think you could make that argument for a Stam as well, on the opposite end of the pitch at that time when he was at his very best.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think that'd probably always be a a small mystery.
Yeah. All right. It's 8:34 this morning. If you want to get in touch, we'd love to hear from you. You can leave a comment on the YouTube stream. You can tweet us at Off the Ball AM, or of course you can WhatsApp us 087 9180 180. OTB AM is brought to you by Gillette. Good morning. Start with Gillette. Put your best face forward with their new and improved razors. John Duggan is with us. John, good morning to you.
Ger, Owen and Kenny, how are we doing?
Yeah, we're very good. How are you?
You're not too bad, thanks. It's a Thursday. It's Virtual Insanity Day, so.
Ask John. Put him on the spot. On straight away. What have we been talking about?
Greatest Manchester United central defender in the Alex Ferguson era onwards.
Go.
Rio Ferdinand.
So
Surprise me.
Finalist.
It
Doesn't surprise me.
It came down to Ferdinand versus Stam, right? And essentially what we're asking you for is who had the highest height, not who had the longest period of sustained greatness. Who reached the level of highest excellence as a defender?
Rio Ferdinand, I would say.
Good shout, in fairness. I mean,
fair.
he was a finalist, John,
It was close.
Yeah.
It was
This
close.
is my point.
We make up the criteria as we go along. And sure
I think John will be in the majority in that respect.
Well, it was an instinctive answer, lads. So
Yeah, and I think
it's the
I
first
think
No, I
year
think it's a
it
good
came to
answer. It's a good answer.
I saw Vidic and Ferdinand play against Tottenham actually in 2007 when Ronaldo was on the wing, and it was world champion football, and there was 2 to 3 years there where they were the best in the world. And I know Stam around '99 was very much the fulcrum, and they should never have sold him. And obviously the book didn't go down very well, but I just think over a longer period of time, I think Ferdinand was really a huge part of that second or third wave of Ferguson's teams.